The envelope arrived before the body was cold. That was the part Eva Jones could not stop turning over in her mind. Not the grief, not the lawyers, not the terrifying silence of an apartment that had 22 rooms and now felt like one very long-held breath. It was the timing. The envelope had been slipped under the front door of their Los Angeles penthouse at 6:17 in the morning. Debbie had found it when she went to collect the newspaper at 6:20. The building's front desk had no record of anyone entering. The cameras in the lobby showed nothing. Not a gap, not a glitch, just an unbroken feed of an empty marble foyer with nobody passing through it in either direction. Amelia Jones had been declared dead at 6:09. 8 minutes. Someone had known before the city knew. Before the hospital had made a single call. Before Eva had even fully understood what Debbie's sound in the hallway had meant. Eva sat at the kitchen island in a pale sage green wool sweater and cream wide-leg trousers, her braids loose around her shoulders, her hands flat on the cold marble. The envelope was in front of her. She had not opened it. She had been sitting with it for 4 hours, through the arrival of the lawyers, through Nova's crying, through Debbie's quiet movement around the kitchen, through all of it. Just sitting with it the way her mother had taught her to sit with things she didn't yet understand. You don't have to rush toward a thing just because it's in front of you, Amelia had told her once. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is make it wait. So Eva made it wait. And she watched the people moving through her home. There were 6 of them now, 4 from the legal team, 1 woman Eva didn't recognize who kept touching things and writing in a small leather notebook, and a man in a gray suit who had introduced himself as Mr. CO and had not explained who he represented or why he was there. He had simply arrived with the legal team and nobody had asked him to leave, and he had not volunteered to go. Eva had been watching Mr. CO for 2 hours and 40 minutes. He touched nothing. He said very little. He stood slightly apart from the legal team, not with them, not away from them, just adjacent in the specific way of someone who needed to appear affiliated without actually being so. He looked at the art on the walls. He looked at the photographs. He looked once directly at Eva, and when she met his eyes without flinching, he looked away first. She filed that. At 10:15 her phone vibrated against the marble. Chi-1. I spoke to my father last night. He is already moving. Eva looked at the message for a long moment. Then she typed back. Eva, there was an envelope. Under the door. 6:17 this morning. The response came in under 30 seconds. Chi-1. Before the official time of death was recorded. Eva yes. Chi-1 don't open it alone. Don't open it in front of them. Take it to your mother's study. Go now while they're occupied. Eva looked up. The legal team was gathered at the far end of the open-plan living space, speaking in low urgent voices over a spread of documents. Mr. CO had his back to her, studying a large framed photograph of Amelia at the Cape Town launch, the one where she was laughing, head thrown back, the ocean blazing orange behind her. Debbie was at the sink. She caught Eva's eye across the kitchen and held it for just a moment, the look of a woman who understood more than she was saying and was waiting to be useful. Eva slid off the stool, picked up the envelope, walked quietly down the hallway toward her mother's study, as if she was simply going to her room. Nobody stopped her. She closed the study door behind her, stood in the room that still smelled like Amelia. Sandalwood and something green, the specific scent of her mother's favorite diffuser that Debbie kept running even now, maybe especially now. The room was exactly as Amelia had left it. Neat, deliberate, everything in its place. Eva went to the bookshelf. She pressed the panel exactly where her mother had shown her when she was 9/3 shelf from the bottom, left side, 2 inches from the edge. The panel gave with a soft click. Behind it, a slim steel safe set flush into the wall. She entered the combination without hesitation. Her mother had made her practice it until her fingers knew it without her brain needing to participate. The safe opened. Inside, a slim brown envelope, different from the one that had appeared under the door, older, sealed with her mother's personal wax stamp. A small USB drive, a handwritten letter folded in thirds, and a photograph Eva had never seen before. Her mother, younger, maybe mid-20s, standing beside a Korean man Eva didn't recognize, both of them in front of a building that looked like Seoul. They were not smiling. They were looking at the camera with the specific expression of 2 people who had just decided something. Eva sat down on the floor of her mother's study with everything in her lap. She opened the handwritten letter first. My Eva. If you are reading this, then I was not fast enough. I want you to know that I tried to be. I want you to know that everything I built facing forward. Toward you, always toward you. There are people who have been waiting for me to be gone. They have been patient because I gave them no choice. But patience is not loyalty and waiting is not surrender. They will move quickly once I am gone. They will use the legal structures I built because they helped me build them and they know every door. Go to the USB. There is a password, you know it. It is the name of the street we lived on in Atlanta when you were born. All lowercase, followed by the year. Inside you will find everything. Names. Structures. The shell companies they think I don't know about. The moves they have been planning. You are 11 years old and I am asking too much of you. I know that. But I also know you. And I know that you are already 3 steps ahead of everyone in that apartment right now. There is a man named Chul-Soon Kwan. I have never met him. But I know his son. And his son knows you. Trust that. I love you more than this letter can hold. Mom. Eva read it twice. Then she folded it exactly as it had been folded and held it against her chest and sat very still on the floor of her mother's study and let herself feel, completely privately, for exactly 4 minutes, everything she had been holding since 6:09 that morning. Then she picked up her phone. Eva, she knew about your father. The 3 dots appeared immediately. Chiwon, what? Eva, my mother. She left me a letter in the safe. She wrote his name. Chul-Soon Kwan. She said to trust it. A longer pause this time. Eva, my father needs to see that letter. Eva, I know. Chiwon. Can you photograph everything in the safe and send it to me right now? Eva, already doing it. She photographed each item carefully, the letter, both envelopes, the USB drive, the photograph. She sent them one by one. Then she sat and waited, the USB drive in her palm, turning it over slowly. Her phone rang. Not a message. An actual call. Chiwon's name on the screen. She answered. Eva. His voice was different on a call. Still low, still precise, but carrying something that text didn't allow. Something that was almost urgency but had been disciplined into calm. I showed my father the photograph. The one with my mother and the man in Seoul. Yes. A pause. Eva, my father knows that man. She went still. Who is he? His name is Baek Jun-ho. He is, another pause. The kind that meant the next words were being chosen very carefully. He is someone my father has had a problem with for a long time. A serious problem. What kind of problem? The kind that doesn't get resolved in a courtroom. Eva looked at the photograph again. Her mother, young and unsmiling, standing beside a man who apparently had a serious problem with a Korean mafia boss. Chi-won, she said carefully. What was my mother involved in? I don't know yet. But my father does. Or he knows enough to find out the rest. His voice dropped slightly. He wants to speak with you directly. Not through me. With you. Eva's hand tightened on the phone. When? Tonight. Video call. 10 p.m. your time. She looked at the door of the study. Beyond it, somewhere in the apartment, Mr. Seo was still standing in front of her mother's photograph, and the woman with the leather notebook was still writing, and the lawyers were still talking in their low, urgent voices about assets and structures and controlling interest. Okay, Eva said. Eva. Yes. You are doing exactly what she raised you to do. His voice was quiet and certain. She knew this was coming and she prepared you. Remember that. She swallowed. I'm trying. Don't try. You already are. A beat. Go back out there. Watch them. Don't let them see you watching. And don't let anyone near that study. Okay. I'll be on the call tonight. Chi-won. Yes. Thank you for answering every time. A pause that was half a second longer than his usual ones. Always, he said. And the line closed. Eva replaced everything in the safe exactly as she had found it, except the handwritten letter, which she folded and tucked inside the waistband of her cream trousers against her skin, and the USB drive, which she pressed into the small interior pocket of her sage green sweater. She closed the panel, straightened the books in front of it. Then she opened the study door and walked back down the hallway into the controlled chaos of her mother's living room, as if she had simply gone to use the bathroom. Mr. Seo turned when she re-entered. His eyes went briefly to her hands. She was carrying nothing visible. His expression did not change, but something behind it recalibrated. She went back to her stool at the kitchen island. Debbie appeared beside her within 30 seconds, setting down a small plate, sliced fruit, a piece of buttered toast, a glass of cold water. She didn't say anything. She just set it down and rested one hand very briefly on Eva's shoulder, and then moved away. Eva ate the toast, drank the water. kept her eyes moving carefully around the room. At 11:40, the woman with the leather notebook approached her for the first time. She was perhaps 40, mixed-race, sharp-featured, with a kind of professional warmth that had been practiced so many times it had become indistinguishable from the real thing. She sat down on the stool beside Eva without being invited. "Eva," she said. Her voice was soft, practiced. "My name is Miss Park. I'm here to help manage the transition of your mother's estate. I know this is an incredibly difficult time." "Thank you," Eva said. Flat, polite, giving nothing. "I wanted to let you know that we'll need access to your mother's private files. Her study in particular." Miss Park's smile stayed perfectly in place. "It's all part of the standard process. Nothing to worry about." Eva looked at her. "Who do you represent, Miss Park?" Flicker. Brief. "I work with the estate legal team." "Which firm specifically?" Another flicker. Longer this time. "We're affiliated with Mercer and Associates. My mother's legal firm is Hahn Lowitz." Eva held her gaze. "I've never heard her mention Mercer and Associates." Miss Park's smile did not move, but her eyes did. A quick slide to the left toward the legal team, then back. "We were brought in to assist. Given the scope of the estate." "By whom?" The smile finally shifted. "Just slightly. Just enough." "I'm sorry. Who brought you in?" Eva asked. Her voice was 11 years old and completely level. "My mother is gone as of this morning. Her estate has not yet entered any legal process. So who called Mercer and Associates before that process began?" Miss Park stared at her. The kitchen was very quiet. "I'll need to check on a few things," Miss Park said finally. She stood, smoothed her jacket. The professional warmth had not disappeared, but it had thinned considerably. "We can talk more later." "Of course," Eva said. She watched Miss Park walk back to Mr. Seo and say something in a low, rapid voice. Mr. Seo's eyes moved to Eva. Eva was already looking at her water glass. She picked up her phone under the counter edge and typed without looking down. "Eva, Miss Park. Mercer and Associates. Look them up. Show on it." By 3 in the afternoon the apartment had thinned out. The legal team had left with promises to return tomorrow with documents that would need signing. Miss Park had left without saying goodbye. Mr. Seo had been the last to go. Pausing at the door, turning back to look at Eva one final time with an expression she could not fully read. Not threatening. Not apologetic. Measuring. Like he was recalculating something. The door closed. The apartment exhaled. Nova was asleep in the guest room. Debbie was in the kitchen making the kind of food people made when they didn't know what else to do. Slow, careful, filling the space with the smell of something warm. Eva went to her room, sat on her bed, opened her laptop. At 4 p.m. her phone lit up. Chiwon Mercer and Associates was registered 8 months ago. One director. Shell company structure. Parent company registered in Seoul. Eva stared at the screen. "Eva, 8 months ago." "Yes." "Eva. My mother's doctor started monitoring her privately 8 months ago." The 3 dots appeared and stayed for a long time. "Eva. Someone knew she was sick before she told anyone." "Eva. And they started building the structure to take everything the moment she was gone." "Chun, my father needs to see all of this tonight. Every piece of it." Eva closed her laptop, lay back on her bed, stared at the ceiling of her purple room. The walls her mother had let her choose, the color she had picked from a fan of 50 swatches on a Sunday afternoon 2 years ago while Amelia sat cross-legged on the floor beside her saying, "That one, no that one, Eva that one is the one," until they were both laughing too hard to choose anything. She pressed her hand flat against the wall beside her bed. "I've got it, Mom," she said quietly, to the room, to the walls, to the sandalwood scent that was already beginning to fade from the sweater she was wearing. "I've got it." Outside her window, Los Angeles moved through its afternoon without ceremony. Across the Pacific, in a house that looked from the outside like nothing and was on the inside something else entirely, a man named Chul Soon Kwan was looking at a photograph of a young Amelia Jones standing beside his oldest enemy, and beginning to understand that this was never going to be simple. At 9:58 p.m., Eva sat at her mother's desk in the study. She had waited until Nova's light went off, until Debbie's footsteps had settled into the quiet shuffle of someone moving towards sleep, until the apartment had reached that specific stillness that only came after midnight, not peaceful, not empty, but the held breath kind of still that meant everyone who was going to sleep had gone to sleep and everyone who wasn't going to sleep was alone with whatever was keeping them awake. She had changed into a soft ivory turtleneck and dark olive wide-leg trousers, the clothes she had pulled on without thinking, the instinct toward something that felt composed without feeling formal. Her braids were pinned up loosely. The USB drive was on the desk in front of her. The handwritten letter was beside it, unfolded, smoothed flat with the edge of her palm. At 10 p.m. exactly, her laptop screen lit up. Chi-Won appeared first. His face in the upper corner of the screen, that familiar composed stillness, hair neat, wearing a deep burgundy sweater she hadn't seen before. He looked at her for a moment without speaking, the way he always did at the start of calls, just checking, making sure she was there and she was holding. She gave him the smallest nod. Then the mainframe filled. Chul-Soon Kwon was larger than she had imagined, and she had imagined him carefully. He sat behind a dark wooden desk in a room that was dim and precise, a single lamp throwing warm light across the left side of his face and leaving the right in shadow. He wore a deep charcoal suit with no tie, the collar of a white shirt just visible at the neck. His hair was close-cropped, black with the faintest silver at the temples. His hands were folded on the desk in front of him, still, completely still. His eyes found her immediately. They were Chi-Won's eyes, dark, steady, carrying the particular weight of someone who looked at things fully and without flinching. But where Chi-Won's eyes were patient, Chul-Soon's were decisive, like the difference between a door that was waiting to open and a door that had already decided. For a moment nobody spoke. Then Chul-Soon said in English that was precise and unhurried, "You look like her." Eva went still. "Like my mother?" "Yes." He studied her. "I knew Amelia Jones. Not well, but enough to know she was someone the world was not ready to lose." A pause. "I am sorry for what happened to her." Eva held his gaze. "Thank you. I am not a man who says things he does not mean," Chul-Soon said. "So when I tell you that I intend to find out exactly what happened to her, and exactly who built the structure that is trying to take what she left you, I need you to understand that I mean that completely." "I understand." "Good." He unfolded his hands, placed them flat on the desk. "Tell me about the envelope. The one that arrived at 6:17. Eva told him everything. The timing. The lobby cameras showing nothing. Mr. CO. Ms. Park and Mercer and Associates. The leather notebook. The way Ms. Park's smile had thinned when Eva asked who had called them before the estate process had begun. She told it the way her mother had taught her to tell things, in order without decoration, every detail in its place. Chul-Soon listened without interrupting. Chi-Won in his small corner of the screen listened the same way. When she finished, Chul-Soon was quiet for a moment. "Miss Park," he said. "Describe her." "Mixed race. Around 40. Sharp features. Very controlled warmth, like she had practiced it." "The leather notebook. What color was the cover?" Eva blinked. "Dark green. Slim. No brand visible." Something moved in Chul-Soon's expression. Brief. Contained. But Eva caught it. "You know her," Eva said. He looked at her. "I know who she works for. Baek Joon-ho." The name landed in the room like a stone dropped in still water. Chul-Soon's eyes sharpened. Across his corner of the screen, Chi-Won went very still. "Chi-Won showed you the photograph," Chul-Soon said. "Yes. My mother and Baek Joon-ho. Seoul." She looked about 25. They weren't smiling. They wouldn't have been. Chul-Soon leaned back slightly in his chair. "What I am about to tell you is not something I tell people, Eva. You understand that?" "Yes. Your mother and Baek Joon-ho had a business arrangement. 12 years ago. Before you were born. He approached her when she was building her first distribution channel into Asia. He offered infrastructure, warehousing, logistics, connections she would not have been able to build alone at that stage." A pause. "Your mother was brilliant. But she was also young, and she was building something in a territory that required relationships she did not yet have." Eva's hands were flat on the desk. She took his help. She took his infrastructure. For 18 months. Then she found her own way and she severed the arrangement cleanly and professionally. Chul-Soon's voice was measured. Baek Joon-ho did not consider it clean. He considered it a debt that was never paid. And Baek Joon-ho has been collecting debts for 30 years. "He's been waiting," Eva said quietly. "He is a patient man. It is his most dangerous quality." Chul-Soon looked at her steadily. "He did not cause your mother's illness, Eva. I want to be very clear about that. But the moment he knew she was sick, And he has people inside hospitals, inside private medical practices he began building. Mercer and Associates. The shell structures. The legal team that arrived at your door before the city knew she was gone. Eva was quiet for a moment. The study held its breath around her. He wants the company, she said. He wants everything. The brand. The distribution network. The Asian market share your mother spent 12 years building without him. Chul-soon's voice did not rise. It never rose. It simply became more precise. He believes that because he helped her in the beginning, he is owed a portion of everything that came after. And now that she is gone and you are 11 years old, he believes there is nobody left to tell him otherwise. Eva looked at the man on her screen. Then she said very quietly, he was wrong about that. Something happened in Chul-soon's face. Not a smile, something more than that and less than that. The expression of a man recognizing something he had not expected to find. Yes, he said. He was. What do I do? Eva asked. Not tonight. Everything. What do I do? Tonight you do nothing except sleep. You are 11 years old and you buried your mother today. And you have already done more tonight than most adults would manage in a week. He held her gaze. Tomorrow you do not sign anything. Not one document. Not one form. Regardless of what they tell you it is for. You say you need time to review with your own counsel. My mother's actual legal team. Han Lowitz. Call them first thing in the morning. Speak only to the senior partner. A woman named Jian Han. Tell her everything. Use your mother's name as the introduction. Jian will know what it means. Eva wrote the name on the inside cover of the notebook on the desk. Her mother's notebook, the one that lived beside the lamp. Jian Han. Yes. And Eva. He paused. The USB drive your mother left. Do not plug it into any device connected to your home network. Beck's people are thorough. Buy a new laptop tomorrow. Cash if you can manage it. Plug it in only on that. Eva stared at him. He has access to our network? I don't know. I am not willing to assume he doesn't. She absorbed that. Sat with it the way her mother had taught her to sit with things that were frightening. Not looking away, not rushing toward a reaction, just letting it be true until she understood its shape. Okay, she said. Chi-1 will be your contact point for everything that comes from my side. What comes from my side will not be visible, and you will not need to know the details. What you need to know, I will make sure you know. He looked at her with that absolute steadiness. Your mother trusted the connection between you and my son. I am choosing to trust it also. Eva looked at Chi-1's corner of the screen. He was already looking at her. Thank you, she said. To both of them. Chul-soon nodded once. Get some sleep, Eva Jones. The screen went dark. Eva sat in her mother's study for a long time after the call ended. She looked at the photograph from the safe Amelia and Baek Junho sold 12 years ago. She looked at her mother's face. Young. Unsmiling. Already building something. Already making decisions whose consequences she couldn't fully see yet. You got out, Eva said softly to the photograph. You built it anyway. Without him. She put the photograph back in the safe. Locked it. Replaced the panel. Then she went to her room, lay on her bed in the dark, and for the first time since 6:09 that morning she slept. She was woken at 6:45 a.m. by Debbie's hand on her shoulder, gentle, careful, the specific touch of someone who was sorry to do it. Eva. Debbie's voice was low. There's someone at the door. Eva sat up immediately. Miss Park. No. Debbie's expression was different. Not alarmed, something more complicated than that. It's a man. He says he's from Jian Han's office. Eva went still. I haven't called Jian Han yet. I was going to do it this morning. Debbie looked at her. I know. The apartment was quiet around them. Outside Eva's window, Los Angeles was just beginning its morning, pale gray light, the distant sound of the city waking up, the specific stillness of an hour that hadn't decided yet what kind of day it was going to be. Eva got up, smoothed her ivory turtleneck, straightened her dark olive trousers from the night before. Tell him I'll be out in a moment, she said. Debbie nodded and left. Eva picked up her phone. Typed fast. Eva. Someone is at my door. Says he's from Jian Han's office. I haven't called Jian Han yet. She stared at the screen. The message showed delivered. Chi-1 was 17 hours ahead. It was nearly midnight in Seoul. She didn't know if he would see it in time. She walked down the hallway toward the front door. The man standing in her doorway was perhaps 50, Korean, small-framed, wearing a plain dark coat and carrying nothing in his hands. He had the specific stillness of someone who had been still for a very long time and had stopped noticing it. His eyes when they found Eva were careful. "Miss Jones," he said. His English was quiet and precise. "My name is Mr. O. I have a message for you. From someone who says you will understand it when you hear it." Eva looked at him. "From Jian Han?" Mr. O was quiet for a moment. "No," he said. "From Baek Jun-ho." The hallway went very still. Eva held the door, did not step back, did not let her face move. "What is the message?" she said. Mr. O reached into his coat pocket and produced a single card. Plain white. No logo. He held it out. Eva took it without touching his fingers. On the card in clean black type were 6 words. "She owed me. Now you do." Eva looked at the card for a long moment. Then she looked up at Mr. O. "Tell Mr. Beck," she said, her voice 11 years old and completely level, "that my mother paid every debt she ever owed. And I don't carry what isn't mine." She closed the door, walked back down the hallway to her room, sat on the edge of her bed. Her phone lit up. "Chuan. Eva. Do not engage with anyone at that door. My father says." She typed back before he could finish. "Eva, he already sent someone. Baekjunho." 6 words on a card. The 3 dots appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. "Chuan." What did the card say? Eva looked at the white card in her hand. "Eva, she owed me. Now you do." The longest pause Chi-won had ever made. Then, "Eva, my father needs to know something right now and I need you to be completely honest with me." "Eva, always." "Chi-won, the man at your door. Mr. O. Did he come alone?" Eva frowned, stood, walked back to her window that faced the street below, looked down. A black car, parked directly outside the building. Engine running. She could see the exhaust faint in the cold morning air. 2 figures in the front seats. A third figure standing on the pavement beside the rear door. Still hands clasped watching the building entrance. Her blood ran cold. "Eva, he did not come alone. Chun, listen to me very carefully. Do not leave that apartment. Do not let Debbie open that door again for anyone. Lock the study. Sit tight. Eva, what is happening?" Another pause. Shorter this time. The pause of someone who has just received information and is deciding how much of it to pass on. Then, "Chuan. My father has been watching Baek Jun-ho for 11 years. There is something about your mother, something about what she took with her when she left his arrangement 12 years ago, that we did not know until 20 minutes ago." Eva stared at her phone screen. "Eva, what did she take?" The 3 dots appeared, stayed, disappeared. Then Chi-won's name appeared on her screen. Not a message. A call. She answered before the first ring finished. "Chi-won. Eva." His voice was different. The discipline was still there but something underneath it had shifted. Something careful and controlled but carrying the particular weight of a person who was about to say something that changes everything. "Your mother didn't just leave Baek Jun-ho's arrangement. When she left, she took something with her. Something he has spent 12 years trying to recover." "What?" Eva whispered. "What did she take?" Silence. Then very quietly. "Evidence. Eva, your mother spent 18 months inside Baek Jun-ho's operation. She saw everything. And before she walked away, she documented it. Names, transactions, the full structure of everything he had built." A breath. "That USB drive your mother left you in the safe." Eva looked at the USB drive on her mother's desk. "It is not just about the estate," Chi-won said. "It is everything. It is the thing Baek Jun-ho has been trying to find for 12 years. And he now knows exactly where it is." Eva's hand tightened on the phone. Outside her window, the black car had not moved. The figure on the pavement was still watching the building entrance. And somewhere in Seoul, in a house that looked like nothing from the outside, Chul Soon-kwan was already on his feet. This has been Black Silk Stories, where every story is a world and every world hits different. Eva Jones is 11 years old. Her mother's greatest secret is sitting on a desk in a locked study, and the man who wants it has people outside her building right now. If you are not subscribed, you are going to miss everything that happens next. Subscribe, drop a comment and come back, because where Eva and Chi-won are going, you do not want to be left behind.